Happy Monday. Welcome to OTR Gold or Dragnet Live by OTR Gold. I'm going to get that right first time, I promise. Welcome everyone. I'm going to be highlighting some comments here on the stream, but if you're watching from the Old Time Radio archive channel, you'll see comments up on the side. If you want to participate in that during the stream, please click the link in the description and it'll take you to uh, OTR Gold, the YouTube channel, OTR Gold. And from there, you can participate. I've also added links in the description to 6 new 24/7 streams that I've created in the past week. We have one for CBS Radio Mystery Theater, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, Suspense, yours truly, Johnny Dollar, and the Jack Benny program. I tried to get one across a variety of genres. So if you're interested in participating in that afterwards, go ahead and check it out. But I'm still going to be doing this Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. We're going to be listening to one episode at a time. So if you're in a binging mood, you can go and listen to the 24-hour streams. If you would like to just join us 3 times a week listening to these one at a time, please do so. It's fun to be here with all of you. So dive in real quick. I don't know if I said it at the beginning. My name is Austin Bach. I'm tuning in from Seattle. If you've joined the stream already, you know that I asked to tell us where you're tuning in from. I think it's fun to know where our listeners are, everyone's listening from. We're also doing a giveaway on the channel. So as of this morning, we're more than halfway to our goal. I'm going to be giving away one of these radios when we hit 500 subscribers on the OTR Gold channel. We just passed 250 last night, which is exciting. So thank you to everyone who's subscribed and helping this channel grow and reach a new audience. Once we hit 500, I'm going to pick a subscriber at random and they can have their choice of this green one or this kind of cream colored one. They're, again, just a Bluetooth radio. You can pair your phone to it. You can stream more old time radio content through it. They look great on your desk and they're fun. This little dial right here is actually the volume, which is cool. And it's glowing in the background. Like you could obviously see, glows, which is a surprise. I didn't expect that it would glow when I bought them. But anyway, if you want one of those, subscribe. And after we hit 1,000 and I give away that second one, I also have this this idea. I'm gonna keep secret, but I have an idea for like another fun thing to do with the community once we get to a certain size. Lee asked if these things are speakers. Yes, these are speakers. So it can play anything over Bluetooth. So if you listen to music, if you listen to something else, you can listen to it. Thomas says he loves having the 24-hour streams on in the background when doing puzzles. It is kind of fun. In addition to this, I have other projects that I work on, and I also just kind of keep it tuned in the background, it's a fun thing. I'm sorry, I can't highlight those things on screen. It's not loading up in my little stream manager, so I can't highlight those. I can just see them, but there's no way for me to highlight them yet. Hopefully, the new ones that come in, I'll be able to see. Like this is the latest one I can highlight. Life with Roscoe says, "Do trivia questions." That would be fun, and they, yeah, trivia would be fun. I'm really excited about this idea. But I want to keep it under wraps till we hit 1,000. But there's something else. I'm just looking for ways to kind of build community around this content. So before some of you start tuning out, we're gonna get into the program. Okay. So today's episode is we're gonna be listening to episode 14. The title is Eric Kelby, Body Buried in a Nursery. So again, we talked last week about this thing kind of. The titles sometimes spoil the episodes or maybe spoil some of the surprises. In the near future, Dragnet changes how they name their episodes, and it's like the big blank, the big bank robbery, the big auto theft. And so like the general theme, but it doesn't like come right out and tell you who the main character is or what happens in this episode. So I'm excited for that point because then I can share the title and we still get to listen and not really know where the story's going. This episode originally aired on Saturday, September 3rd, 1949. So this is only 3 days, actually 2 days after the last episode. So up until this point, Dragnet had been airing on Thursdays. And then if you tuned into last week's, Friday stream, you heard the announcer at the end of the episode say, Dragnet's coming to a new time. Well, this is the new time. It's now Saturdays. So my assumption is that they got great feedback from the audience and they moved it to a more primetime location in the schedule. So since there's only 2 days that have happened, there weren't too many historical events for this one. The only one of note that I wrote down here is that on September 2nd, so the day before this episode aired, the movie The Third Man, which was directed by Carol Reed and starred Joseph Cotton, Alida Valli, and Orson Welles, was released in the UK. It went on to win the Academy Award for Best Cinematography in 1950. So that's a hint of what's coming when we get to 1,000 subscribers. That's all I'm going to say about that. So stick around and tune in and keep tuning in. All right. So without further ado, let's get the show started. Hello and welcome to Dragnet from OTRGold.com. This episode will begin after a brief message from our sponsors.
Pet Milk Show, usually heard at this time, has moved to a new time period on Sunday nights. Be sure to hear Larry Douglas and Kay Arman on the new Pet Milk Show tomorrow night on NBC.
And now, here's another in NBC's great parade of new shows.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
NBC brings you Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to a homicide detail. A man's wife has suddenly dropped from sight. On the surface, it appears only as a routine missing persons case. You start to investigate. Suspicion grows. There is evidence of possible foul play. Your job, find the woman or find her murderer.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. Investigated and solved by the men who unrelentingly stand watch on the security of your home, your family, and your life. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, September 15th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Ed Backstrand, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. I was on the way back from lunch, and it was 12:56 when I got to room 42. Homicide.
Hi, Joe. Waiting for you.
Hiya, Ben. Al.
Hi.
I hear you got something for us.
Here's a report right here. Gardener by the name of Eric Kelby called in day before yesterday. Said his wife disappeared from their home out in the valley Sunday night. Says he thinks she left him.
That happens every day, Bargetti.
Not this way, it doesn't. Walsh and I went out yesterday to interview the guy. Story doesn't add.
Why not?
None of her clothes are missing. None of her luggage. She even left her pocketbook behind, full of money. Found out from the neighbors a missing woman is a 17-year-old boy by a former marriage.
So what?
An only child. Mother dotes on the kid. Shouldn't even say goodbye to him.
How did this Eric Kelby impress you?
Pretty grouchy with Walsh and me. No cooperation.
Wants to find his wife, doesn't he?
I don't know if he does or not. There's no help, I'll tell you that.
Can I see that report a minute now?
Oh, here you are.
Agnes Trumbull Kelby, age 39.
Kelby's her second husband. First one died a little after the boy was born.
Mm-hmm. Disappeared Sunday night from her home, 546 Belasco Road, between 7 and 8 o'clock. When did Kelby call in?
Monday afternoon. Said he thought his wife might be spending the night with her sister. When he found out she wasn't, he called us.
Did you meet the boy while you were out there, Borghetti?
Yeah, that's another thing. Kid came riding in on a bike while we were talking to one of the neighbors. Trying to talk to him, but the old man came out, hustled him inside the house. Then he starts eating us out.
What'd he say?
Told us it was our job to find his wife, not to go prying into his stepson's affairs.
Well, that's a new slant.
How about her friends and relatives around here, Al? Any besides her sister?
Walsh located a couple of her aunts. I don't think he's checked them yet, though. I'll tell you, boys.
All right, Al. How would you react?
Borghetti's worrying again.
Oh, now listen, boys. It's no fooling matter. This is one I'll bet on. It's a homicide.
All right. How about a copy of this report?
Yeah, where'll I get the phone? Missing persons, Borghetti. Who's that? Oh, yes. Yes. About what? Oh, sure. All right, son. 4 o'clock. Yeah. Goodbye. That was Kelby's stepson.
What'd he want?
Thinks something's happened to his mother.
In police work, missing persons detail is not a department separate in itself. It is organized as a part of the Homicide Bureau. According to Borghetti, who took the call, the boy said he suspected his stepfather, and he didn't want him to know of any meeting between him and police officers. He would meet the officers that afternoon at 4 p.m. in a restaurant on the corner of Hollywood Boulevard and Fairfax Avenue. At 3:15, Ben and I left the office and drove out to the meeting place, the Dairyland Fountain and Coffee Shop. We arrived there at 3:45. At 8 minutes to 5, the Kelby boy still had not arrived.
Youngster's not very prompt.
Well, let's wait a little while longer.
Yeah. Smoke?
Yeah, thanks.
Want some more coffee?
No, thanks. Well, I guess the boy isn't going to show.
Think something's happened?
15 minutes after we left the coffee shop, we drove up in front of the gate of the Kelby Nursery on Belasco Road. The house itself was set well back on the property, which covered about 4 acres. The entire nursery was surrounded by a 6-foot steel wire fence, and it looked like almost every available foot of ground inside was planted with some kind of a flower or shrub. Kelby met us at the gate.
Yes? What do you men want?
Police officers. Are you Mr. Kelby?
Yes, what do you want?
Well, if you'll shut those dogs up for a minute, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
I'm busy now. Can't you come back tomorrow?
Pretty important, Mr. Kelby. I think we better talk right now.
All right, if you have to. Red, Giant, down. You too, Jaime. Quiet. All right. Now, what do you want?
Mind if we come inside?
Well, these watchdogs of mine are pretty vicious. We can talk here at the gate.
All right, Mr. Kelby. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday. We've been assigned to look into your wife's disappearance.
Oh. Did you find anything yet?
Nothing definite. Maybe you can help us. Would you tell us exactly what happened the night your wife disappeared?
What do you mean? What happened?
Well, when did you last see her? When you first noticed she was gone?
We finished up Sunday night dinner about 7 o'clock, and I laid down for a nap. Agnes went out on the front porch for some air. I woke up a little before 8 and went outside to look for her. She was gone.
Nobody saw her leave, Mr. Kelby?
Not that I know of. Maybe some of our nosy neighbors, I don't know.
How about your stepson? Wasn't he around Sunday night?
When did he get back from the show?
About 10, I think. Why?
Where's your stepson now?
Who are you looking for, my wife or my stepson?
Both, Mr. Kelby. Where's your stepson?
Gone. I took him over to my sister's in Alhambra. Been feeling bad since his mother disappeared. Figured the change would do him good.
When did you take him over to your sister's, Kelby?
This afternoon. What's that got to do with it?
We'd like to talk to Bruce.
No, I can't allow it. The boy's too upset. I can't allow it.
I'm afraid you're going to have to allow it.
Listen, mister, you can get off this property right now. No cop's giving me sass.
Nobody's giving you sass, Kelby. We want to talk to your stepson, that's all. He might give us a clue as to the whereabouts of your wife.
And I say you can't see the boy. What's more, you cops couldn't find thorns in a rose patch. I'll get somebody else to look for Agnes. It's my business anyway, nobody else's.
It's our business, too, if anything's happened to her.
What are you talking about?
You better get your coat, Mr. Kelby. We're taking you in for questioning.
You come through that gate, and I'm going to let these dogs go accidentally.
I'd hate to shoot the dogs. Now go on in the house and get your coat. Eric Kelby turned and made his way up the path and into the house. 5 minutes later, he came out. Without a word to either of us, he came down the path, closed the gate behind him, and got into our car. On the way back to headquarters, he chatted pleasantly about the weather, the nursery business, and his dogs. When we pulled up in front of the city hall, we met the reason for his sudden change in temperament. His lawyer was waiting for us at the door. We took Kelby to one of the interrogation rooms. His lawyer tagged along. We tried to question him, but the lawyer objected to 2 out of every 3 questions we asked. It was hopeless, and we knew it. So did the lawyer. We released Kelby, but we did get the name and address of his sister where the stepson Bruce was staying. After they left, Ben and I got back in the car and drove out to Alhambra to check on the boy.
Well, Getty had this one pegged right, Joe. It's a real sleeper.
Yeah. I'd like to know how the stepson missed that date with us this afternoon.
Well, if the kid called us from the house, his stepfather could have overheard him.
It's possible. Sister's house ought to be along this block, shouldn't it?
Yeah, let's see. 1408, 1406. Right is, Joe. A gray cottage, 1402.
Right. Well, it's a nice-looking little place, isn't it? Well kept.
Yeah, it's a nice neighborhood. Wonder how the lot prices run out here. Somebody's coming.
Yes, what is it?
Police officers, ma'am. Are you Miss Kelby?
Bertha Kelby, yes, that's my name. Why?
We talked to your brother earlier today, Miss Kelby. He said that you brought his stepson Bruce here to stay for a while. We'd like to see him.
Bruce? Yes, he was here till about, an hour and a half ago. I went to the store, and when I came back, he was gone.
Have you any idea where he might be, Miss Kelby?
Well, I telephoned my brother Eric's place just before you came to the door. He's not there. I don't know where he might be. I'm worried about him. He seems so upset. This business about his mother's disappearance, you know.
Would you mind if we came in and looked around, Miss Kelby?
Well, no, not at all.
We went in and looked the house over from one end to the other. There wasn't a trace of the boy. We drove back to Kelby's nursery and satisfied ourselves the boy wasn't there. Then we came back to Alhambra and we kept an eye on Miss Bertha Kelby's home until midnight. No one came or went. At 5 minutes past midnight, the lights went off in the living room, and a few minutes later, in the back of the house. The next morning, when Ben and I checked in for work as usual at 8 o'clock, we met with Captain of Homicide, Frank Kearney.
What makes you two so positive there has been any foul play in this Kelby thing?
That's just it, Cap. We're not positive. It's a whole setup. It smells bad.
For instance?
That lawyer. If a man's innocent, he doesn't need a lawyer to sit with him in the interrogation room and tell him not to answer questions. Number 2, that kid's telephone call.
Maybe he doesn't get along with his stepfather. It happens, you know. Maybe he's trying to get back at him for something or other.
Maybe. Then why is Kelby hiding him out?
You sure he's hiding him out?
No other way to take it, Cap.
The Kelby woman walked away from her home Sunday night. Nobody saw her. She took nothing with her. No clothes, no luggage, no money. You checked with the family doctor?
Yesterday. He told us Mrs. Kelby was in perfect health. We double-checked the Wanderer's file and the Repeater's file in missing persons. Couldn't find her name in either one.
How about her relatives in town?
Haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, Cap. We'll check him this morning.
Well, one thing's certain. The woman couldn't have gone very far.
We checked the sheriff's office, the jails, the hospitals.
Sent out a teletype and an APB. Every cop in the city has her description. She's been gone almost 4 days, but nobody's seen her. How does that add up to you?
It doesn't. You better move on it. Check every one of Mrs. Kelby's friends and relatives.
Right, Frank.
Then try the neighbors. As long as I've been a cop, neighbors have been able to tell everything about anyone.
All that day, Ben and I made the rounds. First stop was the Western National Bank, where Mrs. Kelby maintained her account. Her savings statement showed a total balance of $31,564.17. Her separate checking account had a balance of $842.71. At the Farmers Mutual, we found the record of an insurance policy issued to Agnes Trumbull Kelby. It was a 20-pay life policy covering the insured in the amount of $30,000. The beneficiary was listed as the insured son, Bruce Trumbull Kelby, if living upon the receipt of such due proof. If not, the insured's husband, Eric J. Kelby. By the time we finished checking her financial status, the odds were piling up fast. From only casual reports, we knew that Eric Kelby was a frugal man. If he was greedy as well, if he wanted or needed money badly enough to kill, then he had all the motives necessary to murder his wife. maybe his stepson, too. Ben and I started to make the rounds of Mrs. Kelby's friends and relatives. Our first stop was at the apartment of Agnes Kelby's sister, a talkative maiden lady in her early 60s.
Agnes just isn't that kind. Oh, I'm worried sick about this. I really am. And Bruce, the poor lad, he must be heartsick. And Eric, what does Eric say about all this?
He says he thinks his wife left him.
Left him? Why, that's ridiculous. How strange.
Can you think of any good reason why your sister would leave Mr. Kelby?
Why, no. They had tiffs, of course, small ones. But, of course, there was that argument about Bruce. The two of them always seem to be arguing about Bruce.
How do you mean, ma'am?
Oh, well, raising the boy and all, you know. The last time I talked to them, they were tiffing about whether or not Bruce should be paid for working in the nursery for Eric. And the strangest thing, Eric seemed to be so upset about it all. Imagine. All on account of paying the boy a few dollars for good, honest work in that silly nursery. Well, you know, I'm the outspoken kind, and I just told Eric. Eric, I said, don't be an old meanie. Pay the boy.
That was the extent of the information which Mrs. Kelby's sister had to offer. Next, we called on an aunt, Mrs. James D. Trumbull, 83 years old. She could hardly understand our questions, let alone answer them. She hadn't seen her niece, Agnes, in a year. After that, we paid a visit to one of Mrs. Kelby's friends, a Mrs. Lillian Humboldt.
Well, I'm sorry, Sergeant, but I can't think of any good reason why she would leave him. Unless that silly business about Bruce got out of hand. You know, maybe Eric is just a little jealous of the boy.
Next, we called on Daisy McLeod, who worked as a daymaid for Mrs. Kelby.
Officer, what Mr. and Mrs. Kelby thought, what they said, what they did, it's none of my business. I come in the morning, I do my work, I do it well. I'm not the nosy type, and I don't pry. I take half an hour for lunch, and when I'm through, I take my pay, and I don't expect tips, and I take the bus home. I'm not the peeking through the keyhole kind, sneaking around corners listening. But what I couldn't tell you about that man.
Exactly what do you mean, Miss McLeod?
Oh, he's a hard man, you know. They're always arguing about the boy. Bruce this, Bruce that. He's a nice boy, I think. He's never done anything to me. Oh, but the arguments. Him and her all the time. Should the boy be paid for working? Shouldn't he? Why? Why not all the time? It's just...
When Ben and I finished with a list of Mrs. Kelby's friends, relatives, and employees, we started out on the neighbors. None of them saw Mrs. Kelby after 6 p.m. the night she disappeared. 2 of the neighbors said they saw the porch light burning after 7 p.m., but both said the porch was empty. Mrs. Kelby was not sitting in her chair at the usual time after dinner. According to them, that was one of her habits. It was 10 minutes to 6 by the time Ben and I got back to the office. The light was still burning in Captain Kearney's office.
Full day, Joe. A lot of mileage.
Yeah. Wonder what the captain's hanging around for.
Let's find out.
Get anything?
Pretty good luck, Cap.
Good. I've got some more for you. Just walked in 5 minutes ago.
What do you mean, Frank? Who walked in?
Bruce Kelby. He's waiting in the next room.
We went in the next room and met Bruce Kelby. He was small for a 17-year-old, dark-haired, and a little on the sickly side. He told us that he couldn't keep the date he made with us on the phone because his stepfather apparently did overhear the conversation and drove him directly to his sister's home in Alhambra. We asked him why he was so sure that his stepfather was responsible for his mother's sudden disappearance.
For one thing, all 3 of us usually go to the early show on Sunday night. Eric, Mom, and me. But last Sunday, Eric said he wasn't feeling good and he wanted Mom to stay home and take care of him. Then he told me to go on ahead to the show, so I did.
What time did you get home, son?
About 9:30, 9:45.
What was your stepfather doing when you got home?
Sitting in the living room reading the paper.
Did you notice anything unusual about the way he acted?
He was nervous and jumpy, more than usual, I think.
Anything else?
Yes, sir. When I came in through the front yard, I noticed the dogs had mud all over their paws. They'd been out somewhere in the nursery plots. And they won't go out in the plots unless Eric's with them. He doesn't want them to trample the seedlings.
What would your stepfather be doing out in the nursery at night? Does he usually do some work at night?
No, sir. None of the plots are even lighted. Only the greenhouses.
And the paths in the greenhouses are usually graveled, aren't they? No mud around.
It's my job to see that the greenhouse paths are kept graveled. I know they're not muddy. I fixed them the day before, Saturday.
What do you think it means, son?
I don't know. I don't want to think about it. I just know he's done something. He's done something to her.
Did your stepfather give you any reason for keeping you away from the police officers the other day?
No, sir. He said people were getting nosy, and he said it might be better for me over at Aunt Bertha's. She's his sister.
Do you think your Aunt Bertha might know where your mother is?
No, we hardly ever see her. We don't know her well at all.
We've heard your mother and your stepfather argued about whether you should be paid for your work in the nursery.
When I started to work for him, he promised he'd pay me. I was saving up to buy a 31 Model A. And then after a couple of months, when he didn't pay me, I asked him. He told me I ought to be glad to work for him for nothing.
And your mother argued with him over that.
Sure, it was her money that bought the nursery anyway.
How'd you get away from your aunt's place last night?
Well, Bertha had some shopping to do, and she left me alone. She locked the door to my room. Even the screen over the window in my room was nailed down, but I kicked it out and got away. I stayed at a friend's house last night.
Thought about where you're going to stay tonight?
I don't know. But I'm not going home. And I'm not going back to Bertha's place either. I'll get a room.
How'd you like to stay at my house a few days?
Sure nice of you, sir. Maybe I'd better not. Mom might not like it.
Oh, I'll take care of that. Now let's hop out and get some dinner.
Sure darn nice of you, sir.
All right, son. Come with me.
What do you think, Joe?
He could be lying. Yeah.
Now what, Cap? Shall we bring Kelby in again?
No, not yet. He's found out by now from his sister that the boy's gone. He probably figures the police station is the first place he'd come.
Wouldn't do much good pulling him in now, Ben. We couldn't even question him. 10 to 1 his lawyer'd be waiting for us when we got back.
That's the problem. How do we get to this Kelby without his lawyer finding out?
Well, what about the early morning, Cap? Say tomorrow, about 5 or 6 a.m. Think you'd be looking for us then?
Yeah, that might do it.
If we can just get by that pack of hounds he owns without waking the whole neighborhood, might work.
If we could just question him alone, I got an idea it wouldn't take much to make him cop out.
All right, give it a try. Get out there in the early morning and bring him in for questioning as quietly as possible. I'll be in at 6 a.m. If you want me before then, call me at home.
All right, Frank.
Kelby's got a smart lawyer. It's going to be plenty hard to convict him without a body and corroborating evidence.
He's got 4 acres out there, Cap. You can hide a lot of bodies in 4 acres.
Well, that's what I mean. This case isn't ending. It's just beginning.
The next morning, Ben and I met at the office about a few minutes past 4 a.m. We had a cup of coffee and a donut at an all-night restaurant, and then we started for the Kelby place out on Belasco Road. We took 4 pounds of fresh horse meat with us to keep the dogs quiet if they raised a fuss. It was 28 minutes past 4 when Ben pulled the car to a stop a few hundred feet from the gate to the Kelby nursery. We got out of the car and made our way down the road to the gate. I reached in and tried the latch. It was padlocked. The dogs started in. Okay, Ben, looks like we'll have to jump the fence. Toss some of that horse meat over to him.
Yeah, here.
That's it. Come on, let's climb.
Keep an eye on those hounds. Looks like they could chew your leg off.
Yeah. Here comes a third one, Ben. Toss some more meat.
Yeah, there you are, boy. Go get it. Go get it, boy. Here.
Look, Ben, lights going on in the house.
Come on, let's make it fast.
Who is it? Who's there? I'll set the dogs on you.
Police officers, Mr. Kelby.
What? What are you doing out here this time of night?
You're under arrest, Kelby. Get your coat.
You cops are asking for a peck of trouble.
Get your coat.
Where's my stepson? What you done with him?
What have you done with your wife?
You're going to pay for this. I'll have your jobs.
That's not the first time we heard that, Kelby. Let's go. Lights burning in the captain's office.
Yeah. All right, Kelby, in here.
I'll pay for this, mark my word.
Ben, take him in the office here and stay with him. I'll see if Frank's in yet.
Right, Joe. Come on, Kelby, inside.
Friday? Did you bring in Kelby?
He's down in the interrogation room. Ben's with him.
Somebody saw you.
Don't think so.
They must have. Kelby's lawyer's sitting in the next room.
Kelby again refused to answer any questions without the advice of his attorney. We released him. That day, Captain Kearney sent out 2 men to keep an eye on the nursery and report on all of Kelby's movements. Shortly after 7 o'clock that night, just after nightfall, we tried once again to bring in Kelby for questioning without his lawyer's knowledge. It didn't work. A little after we booked him, his lawyer obtained a writ of habeas corpus. We had to release him again. The two men assigned to stake out the Kelby place reported definitely that somebody was tipping the lawyer whenever unknown visitors showed up at the nursery and drove off with Kelby. There was nothing we could do about it. The next morning, Kearney came up with a lead.
I had a long talk with the boy last night. Accidentally, I think he's given us a pretty good lead.
Yeah?
There's only one way we'll ever get a conviction. That's by finding the body and evidence to tie Kelby in.
Yeah, that'll do it. Where do we start looking?
In a new rose bed next to one of the greenhouses in Kelby's nursery. The kid came up with it last night.
How come?
First, Kelby's crazy about saving $1 and making one.
Yeah.
In the nursery trade, especially where you have a limited area to work in, like Kelby, you cultivate every foot of ground. Every bit of soil you got is planted with something. Kelby's not the type to waste anything. Especially he's not the kind that would let ground lie fallow when he could plant something that might bring in a few dollars next season. Bruce tells me his stepfather has every inch of those 4 acres planted. Every inch. Except a 6 by 9 foot plot of ground in that rose garden.
Oh, it sounds like a long shot to me, Frank.
The boy said he prepared that piece of ground for planting late Saturday afternoon. His stepfather wanted it ready for Sunday morning. The plot of ground's still vacant.
Might have planted it yesterday, Cap. When's the last time you checked?
Before I came to work this morning. I called the men on stakeout next to the nursery. They told me the plot's still empty.
It's worth a chance, Frank. When do we look it over?
Tonight. I don't want Kelby or his lawyer to know a thing until we find that body.
Well, how are we going to work it?
We'll order up a crew from the crime lab. They can take probings through that plot and all around it. They can tell us without any guesswork how deep that ground's been worked over lately.
When do you want to start?
Be here in the office at 8:30 tonight. If my hunches are any good, we'll find a body.
It was 10 minutes past 9 that night when we got to the Kelby place. Lieutenant Lee Jones and his assistants, Kearney, Ben, and 2 other men from homicide. The men on stakeout told us that Kelby had left about 20 minutes before in a dark blue coupe. Ben brought along the usual supply of horse meat for the dogs, so we didn't have any trouble there. We found the empty plot of ground in the rose bed next to the greenhouse, exactly as Bruce described it to Kearney.
Ground's been worked over all right, boys. At least 4 to 5 feet down.
All right, Lee, let's start digging. Romero, take care of the dogs. Watson, grab one of these shovels.
Right, Cap.
Hey, Kelby said these dogs were vicious, didn't he?
Yeah, why?
Look at these hounds. They're no more vicious than a lively coal. Look.
Higgins, get that light over here, will you? Thanks.
What is it, Lee?
Let me see. Teeth. Set of false teeth.
Been in the ground long?
Don't think so, judging from the shape they're in.
How far down would you say you are, Lee?
A couple of feet. Ground's real soft.
Lee, come here a minute.
What is it?
Body. Here's the shoulder.
All right, you men over here with Watson. Get the dirt off the face. Romero, you got a picture of the Kelby woman?
Yeah, Cap. Let's see. Oh, here it is.
Thanks. Get the light down here.
Hunch paid off, Frank. That's her. Ben and I went back to the car and notified communications to broadcast a want for murder on Eric Kelby. His description, together with a description of the car and license number of the car he was driving, was rebroadcast every 15 minutes. Then we went back to check the house. We found the front door unlocked. We went inside and looked around. In one bedroom, we found clothes scattered over the bed and the floor. There was only one old suit remaining in the closet. On the table next to the bed, we found an airline's timetable. We got to the phone and notified communications to alert all police details at railroad stations, bus terminals, and airlines, and then to send out an APB on the teletype. After that, we checked with the airlines. One of them told us that a man answering Kelby's description had booked passage for Mexico City. The plane was scheduled to take off at 10:40 that night from Burbank Airport. Ben's watch said 4 minutes past 10. We called the detail at the airport and alerted them. Then we drove over to check in person. It was 10:35 p.m. when Ben and I took up our positions just inside Gate 3, where passengers were boarding Flight 72 for Mexico City.
He's cutting it close, Joe. Got about 4 minutes more to make that plane.
We waited. The crowd got thicker as departure time came closer. At 10:39, Eric Kelby came through the main entrance, across the terminal, through Gate 3, into a pair of handcuffs.
I don't understand. What does this mean?
We found your wife's body, Kelby.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
In the rose patch next to the greenhouse. Your lawyer can't help this time.
Mexico City. Would have been a nice trip. Expensive.
I'll plead insanity. I didn't know what I was doing.
Be a nice vacation next year, Joe, Mexico City. I'm going to talk to my wife about it.
I didn't mean it. She slapped me. We were arguing about the boy. I didn't mean it.
I don't know if you did or not, Kelby, but you killed her. Come on. You missed your plane.
The story you have just heard is true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
Eric Kelby was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. He is now awaiting execution in the lethal gas chamber at the state penitentiary. You have just heard the 14th in a new series of authentic cases transcribed from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the office of W.A. Wharton, Acting Chief of Police, Los Angeles Police Department.
Tonight's program is dedicated to William J. Weston, Jr. of the Washington, D.C. Police Department, who on the evening of March 4th, 1945, gave his life so that yours might be more secure. Dragnet came to you from Los Angeles. If you enjoyed tonight's production of Dragnet, you'll want to listen to Richard Diamond, private detective, as played by the screen's romantic tough guy, Dick Powell.
The Pet Milk Show, usually heard at this time, has moved to a new time period on Sunday nights. Be sure to hear Larry Douglas and Kay Arman on the new Pet Milk Show tomorrow night on NBC. This is NBC, the national broadcasting company.
All right, everybody. How do we like that one? I'm like Joshua. I can't really comment too much on the story because I was distracted this time. The conversation keeps getting better, but I'll go back and listen to it. This one's an episode I didn't listen to ahead of time, so I didn't have notes written out. But based on the title, I'm sure it has something to do with a body buried in the nursery. Yeah, Lee says, thanks. You always sign off with have a great day. It's great. I appreciate it. We learned some interesting stuff about the crowd here today. So I asked what people's hobbies are. Thomas likes, I'm just trying, since the episode's over, I'm just going to go through a few notable comments here and then we will drop. But I thought it was funny when they originally go talk to the guy. This is when I was listening to the story. They're talking to the guy and he says, don't come in. I might let go of these dogs. And then there's a little bit of pause and he says, accidentally. Yeah, I'm sure it'd be accidental. Then I asked people what their hobbies are because I wanted to know. And we have a few. So let me see this. Hobbies. What are everyone's hobbies? Life with Roscoe likes trains. Oops, sorry. Train shows. And Thomas likes watching old movies and puzzles in addition to old time radio. Joshua, oops, I clicked the wrong one. Joshua does a lot of work on YouTube. He manages a page for his church and then doing a lot of shorts. I said I'm planning to do some shorts for this. I think there's a cool opportunity for, I'm going to call it old time tech or something like that. So they talk about a teletype in here. We'll do a short on like what the teletype is and how it was used. I think that'd be really interesting to like add some color to this thing. Looks like Lee commented in here. She does astrology. It's very interesting. I've not done a whole lot. I'm not super, into that, or I don't know a lot about it, but it's something I'd be curious to learn more about. We started talking about books because Thomas likes books a lot, and then we got into the some favorite books. I think Joshua said he likes Dracula, Frankenstein, Dr. Jekyll, and Mr. Hyde. Then we went through. Um, we started talking about the Universal Dark Universe, which maybe has some overlap. It's kind of the same era, or like when in the 19. I actually don't know when these movies were published, but as television and film started taking off, they have these great these great monster movies that were created, or these great characters. And a couple years ago, Universal Studios was looking at all the success of Marvel, and with them having like Iron Man, and then you have Captain America, and then you bring them together in a movie, and like the stories just build. And they had a really good run for a long time. It's kind of dying off now because stories have to be they're just overly complicated in my opinion now. But at the beginning, it was really fun seeing characters that you knew from somewhere else appear in other movies. And Universal wanted to do that with these classic villains that they had, or these classic monsters that they had the IP for. So the plan was to launch this universe with a reboot of The Mummy, which um, I didn't watch the Boris Karloff Mummy. I think it's Boris Karloff that did it, but I really liked the Brendan Fraser one, the very first one. So it came out, it's just called The Mummy, as Brendan Fraser. They did two other ones after it that were not good. As a fan of the first one, the other ones were not good. Um, and then that was like the only thing that they did in the monster universe for a while. They did a or it wasn't a universe at the time. That was just a standalone Mummy story. Then they've done, I think Universal has done a couple Invisible Man movies, but a couple years back they thought, sweet, we're going to copy the MCU, which is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're going to make the Universal Dark Universe, or I think they just called it Dark Universe, and we're going to like bring all these monster storylines together. They were they made a big bet on Tom Cruise with the reboot of The Mummy, and normally I like Tom Cruise movies. I think Top Gun Maverick was I've seen that movie so many times that my kids that are too young to see it, they know the soundtrack, and they've commented to my wife how much I love that movie. But that movie, the reboot with Tom Cruise, The Mummy, bombed. So in a spectacular fashion, that Universal kind of pulled the plug on this whole thing. But if you watch that movie, which I haven't seen it because the reviews were super bad. I've seen clips of it, but in that movie they have Russell Crowe, and he is Dr. Jekyll. So he hasn't become Mr. Hyde yet. He's the his character is the one that's like tracking these phenomenon uh, across the world, and so that he was going to be the connecting thread through these movies. That he would go and look for Dracula. He would go and look for the creature from the Black Lagoon or things like that. But unfortunately, we will never see that vision come to fruition, at least with that set of characters. I love Russell Crowe, so that was a bummer for me. But anyway, Joshua then says we got to do one. We got to make our own old time radio universe. Bring in these detectives from across these series. Bring in Jack Webb, and maybe through time travel or something, get him in touch with Sherlock Holmes or Dick Tracy, Philip Marlowe. I guess they wouldn't need time travel for some of those people. They overlap the same periods, but maybe once our audience gets big enough and we have some good writers, I think it would be fun to at least attempt. Someone writes a good script, let's get some, amateur voice actors, or let's just try it ourselves and pick a character and bring some new stories to life. Anyway, this is the longest I've rambled on after the end of the stream, but I was really enjoying the conversation today. And as was the case with Joshua, because of the conversation, I did not track the plot of the story. So I need to go back maybe tomorrow, listen to this one so I'm caught up and I can know what's happening in Dragnet world come Wednesday. Great. Life with Roscoe says, listen to Harry Lime. I don't know what that is, but I'll look it up. Thank you, Thomas, for confirming. He says Boris Karloff was the mummy in the first Universal movie. Oh, thanks. He's digging up the factoids here. 1931s into the 1950s was the old Universal movies. So yeah, it overlaps with this. I mean, uh, getting the Jack Benny program set up over the weekend, Jack Benny started broadcasting in like the 1930s. I think early 30s as well, or maybe like 33, I think is when he started. And then he ended in 54. So during that whole run of his show, they're launching these classic films. This one, Thomas, you asked if I've seen the scripts yet. I haven't. This is one of many projects that I do. My life has been crazier than normal, but I know that you've left a comment. I need to go back and look at it because I do want to make I do want to make it easy for people that are hard of hearing or whatever, that they can enjoy this stuff as well and they can read through it. So there's a there's a listener on the Old Time Radio Archive channel that leaves a lot of comments. It's always asking for captions. So if I could find one, I have like 2,000 videos over on that original channel. So it would be hard to create captions for all of those. But something like this that we just do 3 a week, it would be great to have captions of the story, or not captions, but scripts of the story available for people. And then also, I don't know if people know about genius.com. Genius.com is a website for music lyrics. And they have this cool feature where people can highlight sections of the lyrics. Like, for example, in American Pie, I think is the name of it, by Don McLean. He sings, well, there's a clip that, like, the day the music died is what he said. And you can highlight that and, like, what does he mean? So people can highlight and they can leave comments and people can upvote the comments and stuff. I would love to have a platform where we can upload old time radio transcripts that then allow people to annotate that stuff and leave their own comments or factoids about it. Or if someone makes a reference in the script to some episode that happened earlier, someone can highlight it and say, he's referring to blah, blah, blah. So that's the that's the full vision of this transcript library, would be transcripts plus annotations. But I have the idea, but not the technical ability to do the execution. So I write it down in a notebook, something like this, and then we go through and maybe later in the future I know how to connect the dots, or I meet someone who knows how to connect the dots, and we can work together on something like that. But anyway, wow, this has been a great one. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a great week, and I hope to see you on Wednesday.